What's up and welcome to part 5 of the Footballer's Physical Checklist. This video is going to cover prehabilitation, otherwise known as prehab. If you're wondering what prehab is, in this video we'll explain it all. If you've ever felt a low level niggle, like a little pain or little ache, I want to show you how you can minimise these, make them better, and actually even remove them. Prehab to me is strengthening the intricate muscles of the body whilst mobilising and activating it at the same time. Not only is it going to get you ready for training and games, it's also going to reduce and prevent the amount of kind of niggly injuries you get. And as football players, we've always got little niggles, so I want to show you how to manage these and make them better. So we're heading back to the garage gym. Stay tuned, let's go. Okay, before we get stuck into the prehab, I want to tell you something that a sports scientist at Celtic told me when I was feeling a little bit sore one day. He said, "Sam, there is no football player in the world that will ever feel 100%. They're always going to be a little bit fatigued, they're always going to have something a little bit sore, they're always going to have a bit of tightness." He said there's no player in the world that doesn't feel a little something on a training day and a game day. He said to me, if you felt 100%, the chances were you probably weren't doing something right in training and games, because you should have a level of fatigue, a level of a little bit of soreness. It comes with the game. When you play football, you get contact injuries, you get little niggles, it's just part and parcel. All you have to do is manage that level of uncomfortableness, and you have to get comfortable, as they say, being a little bit uncomfortable. I want to make sure in this video that anything that you have that's niggling away or things that you don't know how to manage, I want to make sure that you can manage them and make them better. So first up, we're going to do that full body scan, similar to the mobility video, and we're going to hit the ankles, we're going to hit the knees, we're going to hit the hips, we're going to hit the groins, we're going to hit the hamstrings, and we're also going to hit the quads. Full lower body scan, generally, unless you're a goalkeeper, prehab isn't as important, because obviously goalkeepers have to look after the old shoulder joints, and there is definitely stuff you can be doing, but I'm not a goalkeeper, so I'm not going to show you. Everything I show you from the 6 areas, ankles, knees, hips, groins, hamstrings, quads, can be done before training, can be done on a day off. It's low level, it's low impact, it's not going to fatigue you, it's not going to tire you out. So you can pretty much do this whenever, but I always recommend aiming to get at least 1, if not 2 sessions of this every week. When I was playing, my favourite time to do it was to do it before training or before games, directly before, just to warm up everything. Let's start with ankles. For ankles, I like to do it barefoot, so pop the shoes off and find yourself a little unstable surface. So I here have a Bosu kind of rubber balance platform. You can use a cushion, a pillow, or just use the ground. Now we're going to do this on both sides. What you have to do is balance on it, a slight bend in the knee that's got contact with the ground. You want to engage the core, engage the glutes, and really focus on stabilising the body, having complete full body control. And you want to make sure you're doing this on both sides. Now this is the beginner's version, and I'm also going to show you a slightly more advanced version. A more advanced version of this would be to stand on it and to tap clock hours, so 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm only kidding, 9 o'clock. Out here, then you switch sides and repeat, and then more advanced versions would be eyes closed, balancing for a certain amount of seconds, then eyes closed, tapping the clock hours. Quite advanced, but this will just stabilise that ankle. If you ever roll it, if you have sore ankles, this is going to help strengthen them, but also mobilise them, activates everything in there, so when you go into a game, maybe you land awkwardly, you're ready to stabilise on your feet. Ankles, check. Okay, so next up we're going to go for the knees. This one is a little bit knee, but also a little bit ankle, mostly knees, stabilisation. Watch this. So this bench is quite high. You can use a box or a small step. All you're going to do is work on both sides. One foot leans off, you're not going to jump off. You let yourself drop and catch. You don't want to bounce like that. You want to squeeze your core, fire up your glute. You can touch your glute, make sure it's switched on. Little bend in the knee. Don't land straight legged obviously, because that's not going to help your knee. And you want to make sure your knee doesn't come in the way. Try and keep it in line with your foot. Don't let your knee go too far over your toes, and really cushion the landing. Again, this is just activation, stabilising the knee, good strong core, switching on the glutes, controlling the knee, controlling the ankle. Other side, step off and catch. So the key is you want to be really quiet on the ground. So you want to try and hit the ground with no noise at all. And again, you can do it barefoot. Glutes, core. Okay, so now it's time for some hip work. Now this is so important. I did these every single morning before training when I was at Celtic, because I used to get really tight hips, especially after sprinting. This is actually kind of a strengthening exercise as well. It strengthens everything up in the hip area. It also activates and mobilises it. So you can do it without hurdles or you can do it with hurdles. When I was doing it with hurdles, this is what I would do. I'd bring my legs over, nice and high, over the hurdles. But listen, you obviously don't need them. So the first movement was imaginary hurdles or no hurdles. Up, over, step over, up, step over, up, step over, up, step over. So you'll notice that my hip is coming up to the side and then I'm bringing it over and dropping it down. You might get some clicks here, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's just because it's probably an area of weakness. So a couple of sets, up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over, and yes, you guessed it, you do that one backwards as well. So up, over and back, up, over and back, up, over and back, up, over and back. Now you really want to exaggerate this, it's going to burn. You might even get a little bit of soreness the day after, just because you're not used to it. Again, you want to do a couple of sets, moving forwards and backwards. So when it's backwards, all it is up, back, down, up, back, down. Okay? After that one there, a little bit more dynamic. So you're going to do hip, up and overs, but more straight leg. So again, imagine there's a hurdle, don't have to do any pace, just using those hip flexors to get the legs up and over. And again, you want to do a couple of sets. So right leg over, left leg over, up and down, like so. Now you can as well, rather than doing it actively, you can do it stationary. And all you're going to do is, hands on the hips, bring the hip up, nice right angle here, nice right angle here. I'll show you side on. So it's up, right angle at the hip, right angle at the knee. Okay, all you're going to do is open it out to the side, try and keep the chest straight. Out to the side, back in and down, and that would be one. Okay, this one is a burner. Here, open up, back in and down. You want to do a couple of reps on both sides and a couple of sets as well. And that is hips ticked off. Okay, now we have the daddy of exercises for the groin. If you follow me on TikTok, you might have seen it before. You might have seen it on Instagram as well. Now this one is a burner. It is challenging, it is difficult. The first time you do it, you will get a little bit of muscle soreness the day after, so don't do it the day before a game. But over time you'll be able to add on seconds, you'll be able to add on reps, and you really get those groins super strong. Now, I used to get really bad pain up into my stomach, and the minute, I didn't know what it was, I thought it was a hernia, and the minute I started doing these groin holds, it started to reduce. Those little niggles, that little niggle, that little bit of soreness just went away, because it was just a weakness in my groins. So, groin holds. Like a side plank, one foot up here, and you're going to bring the other leg up as well, that right angle, straight here. You want to be a straight line head to toe. You're probably going to shake, the full body will probably shake like mine is right now, because it's a challenging exercise, all the way through this foot here. Now if that is too difficult for you, you maybe want to begin just with the knee on. Okay, beginner's version, still challenging though. Keep the hips up at all times, don't let them drop down to here. Pointless exercise if you're doing it like that. So keep the hips up and hold. Straight line, head to toe, straight line, up, squeeze the core, push that right foot into the bench. You should be shaking like me. Remember to breathe as well. And that will strengthen up those groins. That's a tough one. Groins, check. Okay, now it is hamstring time. Now there are a few exercises you can do with your hamstrings. This one you can do by yourself obviously. Nordics, those of you who know what Nordics are, they're the best hamstring strengthening, injury prevention, prehabilitation exercise in the world. But you need a partner to do that, or you can put this on the ground with loads of weights on either side, jam your feet under it, soles of your feet, then do your Nordics, but it's easier if you have someone to do it. For this today I'm going to show you Swiss ball rolls for the hamstring. Now, beginner's version, not so much beginner, it's still quite difficult. Palms on the ground, heels on the ball, hips in the air, straight legs, then roll it into the bum. Keep the hips up at all times. And this is just strengthening up everything down the back of those legs, mainly the hamstrings. Unbelievable exercise. Okay, now the more advanced version obviously would be to do it single leg. Now, are you ready? You need to watch, that's why I've got my palms on the ground for extra balance and control. Hips up, roll it in and out, in and out. If you can do it, oh no, can't do it hands off yet. You can maybe advance to just elbows on the ground, keeping the hips up at all times. And that is a burner. Again, similar to the groin holds. That one will cause a little bit of muscle soreness the first time you do it, the day after, so don't do it the day before a game. And that's hamstrings, check. The grand finale, little resistance band around the ankles. And this one's going to work quads, groins, hamstrings and glutes, but we'll just focus on the quads because not that much for the quads. And it's just an activation. When you go to pass the ball, when you go to strike the ball, you do those movements. So to have this little bit of resistance around the ankles will just activate every single little muscle and major muscle in these areas. So when it comes to the warm-up, you're passing, maybe you're doing shooting, your legs are ready for the session, okay? And this one can be static, so you can just do simple band kicks, little bend in the knee. You always want to kick it as far as you can, okay? So really kick it away from you. So as I said, you do both sides obviously. You can do it static, you can do it out to the side, you can do it out behind you, you can do it across the body. That's a good one for passing. You'll really feel it burn. And it can be kind of dynamic, it can be quite fast, it can be slow and controlled, however you like to do it. You can then also do a faster version where you're here touching, getting the fast twitch fibres going out behind as well. And in front. So you're just getting everything really warmed up. And obviously you can do little side steps, walk to the front, walk to the back, and you'll just start to feel everything in the groins, quads, hips, glutes, hammies start to burn a little, and that's what we want. We're getting the blood to these areas, warming them up, switching them on, activating them, getting them ready for your session. That band one's probably the best one to do before training and games because it's easy and it gets everything switched on. And that is quads ticked off. Okay, and as I get my shoes back on, I just want to tell you that all those things are low impact. None of them take much out of the body, so you can do them right before training, right before games, and they're not going to cause you any problems at all. They are critical. Similar to mobility, prehab was a little bit unlooked. Often it gets overlooked, but trust me, spending 5-10 minutes before you go out for your training session, or even 20-30 minutes once per week doing those things will just help make you really robust. It's going to help reduce injuries, it's going to get you ready for your training session. And you'll start to feel as though you're combining this series, this Footballer's Physical Checklist together, and you start to see how everything fits together. You're looking after different aspects of the body, and everything comes together to create the perfect athlete, the perfect footballer physically. Okay, we've got all these things underneath that we've looked at so far, and they're really starting to come together. The next video is going to be recovery. Now this one is going to be good fun because I'm going to be out and about showing you a recovery day, a typical recovery day for a football player. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on the video. Tell me what you think. Are any of the things working for you? How do you feel from it all? I've really loved making this series and I can't wait to show you the last video next week. Thanks for tuning in guys, and I will see you in the next video.